It's been quite a while since we featured Vampire Coast on the channel, so I figured why not give them a whirl today. We're going to be taking, not me actually, Codex is taking the Vampire Coast against Shidoku's Greenskins, so should be in for a very fun time. We've got a massive build of zombies here, overlapping gun lines, as is very appropriate for a classic Vampire Coast build. We've got some gunnery mobs with handguns, deck guns as well, including the Regiment of Renown, Shade Wraith Gunners. We've got some Night Terrors, Regiment of Renown in the back. Looks like a couple of, a couple of hand cannons mixed in here as well. And then we've got, of course, just a bunch of polearm mobs and regular mobs up front, along with Silostra being the only character. So no Lore of Vampires, no healing. We're just looking for some damage and debuffs here. Ghosts of the Past, of course. Those damned Knights Errant should be making an appearance. Got some Night Goblin Fanatics here in the Vanguard, Mangy Marauders, Wolf Rider Archers, and Death's Creepers there for a little skirmish force. Also looking like Walmart Wurzag here, the Savage Orc Great Shaman. Got some Orc Boy Spears, some Goblin Archers here, yeah. Well, actually, Air Boys and Armored Orcs. We do have the one Rusty Airs Classic. Couple of Stone Trolls, very good and strong build for the Green Tide. Wolf Rider Archers over here as well. Some more Fanatics. I like the flanking Fanatics hidden, given that Coast, of course, is a very immobile faction, very static faction, and expect that those flanking ambush infantry are likely not going to be discovered until they can get in range to unleash those Fanatics to great effect. This is the Toothgrass Hill map, which was completely busted on release. Yep. Now has been fixed. It's pretty decent. It used to be one of my favorite maps overall. I still think some of the changes they made aren't super ideal, but anyway, regardless, we're going to see the Green Tide come over the hill here and start to take some massive damage from the guns. Immediately, this Orc Boy Spear is getting punished very heavily, and of course the Ruglets Armored Orcs being a nice higher value target. Not crazy high value, but still need to take them out very quickly to protect the gun line. Of course, one of the things that zombies are most vulnerable to is also getting shot in the face. So definitely want to protect your gun line from archers as much as possible in any kind of coast matchup. Right now, the Stone Trolls missile resistance definitely coming in clutch here, as they're able to tank a whole bunch of gunfire moving forward. Still not doing great on leadership, but ooh, big old Foot of Gork trying to stomp out damned Knights Errant who were summoned up in the back line. Be crushing through the Greenskins leadership with massive amounts of terror and shock damage. Not a crazy amount of shock damage, honestly, but it's a pure armor piercing, 55 charge bonus. More importantly, though, procs a big terror route in the back line of the Green Tide, and it's going to allow Vampire Coast to kind of break up their formation a bit. Speaking of breaking up the formation, though, Wolf Rider Archers charging in, hit a wall with a nice timing push on those handgun mobs, force them into crumbling. We've got the ambush infantry as well. Night Goblins getting through. Some of them got blundered up in the Night Terrors there, which is unfortunate, but sometimes these things do happen. And it's looking pretty good all across the board for Coast. They're kind of stabilized here, but a lot of the Green Tide is making it through. They're taking some losses on deck guns, which are pretty important units, just generally pretty expensive. Not something you want to be taking a ton of losses on, if at all possible, but deck hands moving through. We've got deck guns also continuing to blast away here. A little bit of interrupted line of sight, but yeah, zombies starting to have some crumbling issues. The Green Tide kind of fighting through this location, but Savage Orc Great Shaman, momentary blunder, finds himself out in the open, just getting absolutely blasted by handguns. Throw a little brain burster there to disrupt them, but the damage has already been done. Of course, the contact effect as well from the Shade Wraith Gunners debuffing leadership is going to get Savage Orc Great Shaman off the field. And it's looking pretty rough, potentially, for Coast, though. I mean, a lot of their units kind of teetering on crumbling right now. Some of them just straight up crumbling. And Wob being popped once more as all the Green Tide are in contact. Still got some Mournguls alive over here. Still got a few units of handguns. And Silostra also still alive, able to provide some terror here in the late game. But let's see. The Savage Orc Great Shaman comes back from route. Potentially cast some more spells here to try and equalize things. But the deck guns, yeah, one's still relatively alive. This other one here, actually, physical resistance of being ethereal is helping them kind of hold off the Wolf Riders for the time being, even though they have an absolutely minuscule HP pool, one of the lowest HP pools of any unit in the entire game. But nonetheless, they're able to hold there. They do actually cause terror as well, so didn't always do that. But yeah, the Wolf Riders not able to hold their leadership together. Night Goblins, though, finish off the last of those zombies. Should be moving in as well. Stone Trolls also having leadership issues. They're quite a strong unit, but of course do suffer from the classic troll illness of just having bad leadership. But the handgun mobs doing some work, definitely. If we take a look at the values here, yeah, 700 here, 700 here, so definitely very efficient as they've been able to stay alive and keep shooting through the second phase here. But balance power pretty close to even. Importantly, the Green Tide has held the victory objectives. They're getting those tickets racked up. I don't know if it'll come into play here, but perhaps it's nice to gain that positional advantage just because Coast is so terrible at pushing points. They're very slow and gun-based roster. Let's see here. Goblin lines are going to be approaching. Yeah, the Shade Wraiths just stand in the pocket and deliver some terror there. Horn Ghoul's also going to charge, break these Night Goblins, so pretty good stuff. Little Brain Burst going to do some damage to the deckhands and the deck guns. But ultimately, Silostra also, there's a lack of magic damage here. Yeah, big mistake in my opinion not taking Fists of Gork. It's such a cheap spell, and it gives on-demand magic damage. Also nice melee attack and defense buff, but certainly having that little bit of extra magic damage, just to be able to snipe out Silostra with whatever, right? He could even ride her down himself, or, you know, like get the trolls in a surround, pop them with some magic damage, and they should beat her into the ground pretty quickly. But, yeah, unfortunately he did not take that particular spell, which definitely ended up costing him a bit here. I think could have broken those Shade Wraith Gunners and maybe rolled up the rest. Obviously not going to guarantee a victory here, but I also didn't see these are not actual Fnatic Night Goblins. Unfortunately, they didn't get any like AoE burst damage because of that, so a little bit tough. Greenskins leadership's going to fall apart, and it will be victory for the Coast. Sticking to their guns. Very, very cool. Big thanks to Codex sending that one in. And a fun one for sure overall. Yeah, nice to see some classic gunline Coast build style that was popular for a while, but you don't see it super often these days. But just the handguns, really. Super cost efficient, great damage across the board. Deck guns not even as efficient necessarily. Shade Wraiths, of course, do a nice job. But yeah, largely this battle was won by like the handguns, and then we also don't see the damn Knights Errant value. Not that they got a ton of raw damage value, but just being able to get that big terror route tactically was super, super clutch here. Yeah, some of the Night Goblins, actually, I like the chevrons on them to give them some extra leadership. Pretty much all of them were cost effective as they got into the fight and were able to wreck some zombies. Yeah, the Night Goblin Fanatics here doing a pretty good job. The Regiment of Renown, 8-Peak Loons. I didn't see if they got too many good Fanatics casts. But credit to Codex here for really just shutting down the Green Tide Archers. None of them ended up paying for themselves, and I think that was pretty key tactically in order to win the battle. But how about that? 700 value, more than 2 times their cost. The humble Goblin Wolf Rider Archers. Not actually amazing in the meta right now, just because they're so flimsy. They do have a good volume of fire, a little bit better than traditional skirmish cavalry. Don't do a ton of damage, but with that wah, actually against something that has equally poor melee stats, it's some pretty good work done. I like the hybrid utility there for sure in this matchup. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. If you like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification every time I upload a new video. You'll be notified. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.